she's always asking me. She'll always be like, "Yeah, why don't you go to meetings anymore?" I go, "It's literally in there. It's right there at the book. It's just read the book." You're tuned into the Endless Honeymoon podcast.
Hello.
That anecdote.
Well, we're speaking of books.
That's just behind the curtain. It's 3 authors right now.
Let's just say our guest.
My headphones down.
Oh yes. Let's just say our guest has just written a book. I believe it's a bestseller. I've read a lot of great reviews about
Thank
this
you so
book.
much.
Joyful Recollections of Trauma.
Yes, it is a book that I wrote, and now you can read it or listen to it or e-read it. But it's actually been pretty amazing in the sense that I've traveled all over in a way that I've never traveled for any comedy show, because you go to like little bookstores, you talk to people, and the best night, I think, was when I was in Boston. I had done a show and I did a book signing afterwards, and my son decided he wanted to sign the book with me.
Oh, that's
so
cute.
There are like a couple hundred autographs that just say "Fart Man" and then my name on it. So that's
cool.
Yeah,
he's like pre-signing for his trauma to be
right. He was like, "Look, I'm getting early. Get here."
All right.
They're not recollections at this point. They're future. They're projections.
I have an important question. How closely related is trauma to comedy?
I mean, I think you both would know this too, but I think I always say that trauma is like the fire in which we are forged, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be a grand trauma. It could just be, there are moments that I don't know. I feel like every comedian I know, every actor I know has moments, right? These moments. I can think about a moment in a CVS where I'm like, oh, I really messed up that interaction with the cash register person. Like this is,
Yes.
and it's like, there are these things that you like, and I think we like revel in them, or we twist around in them a little bit. And I think that is kind of what makes us all see people differently or react to things differently. I don't know. I think that's important.
You think it's a necessary correlation? One, I mean, obviously nobody gets through life without trauma.
Right, sure.
But
Our kids will.
you're saying that...
Well, that's where I'm going with this.
Which is?
Well, our kids, like, we all had this trauma, and we're doing everything we can to make sure they have these, like, amazing lives.
But you can't stop it, right? Because you can protect them from certain things, but certain things I saw at school, like my parents never even knew about because I wouldn't even talk about it, right? And it's not even like done to me. I've seen things done to other people, and it's just life. I mean,
I'm watching. Not to disagree with you,
no.
But I'm watching this documentary right now that suggests what Natasha's saying, that financial privilege will shield you from any trauma. It's called Monsters on Netflix about the Menendez brothers, and they prove with a certain level of financial privilege, you will be okay.
But I know Paul's a good person, and I know June's a good person, and I'm sure you guys are like bending over backwards to make sure, like we are, that your kids are safe. But
I think you also can't predict what the new thing is, right? Like, I feel like our parents and their parents had very similar parenting styles. Like, we are parents, and we are very different. We are, I think, people of therapy, or people of being enlightened in whatever which way that comes. We're people who've lived a life.
People of their POTs.
Yeah, we're POT.
I like that.
Not archaic.
But I think, so we are open to things. The conversations that my kids have, like the conversations that we even have to talk to them about, like issues that were a big deal. Like, here's somebody who is gay. Mm-hmm. Like that. Whoa. Okay. What is that? And that's nothing for my kids, right? Trans, nothing for my kids are living in a different world where they're just accepting it. So it's like, well, there will be something that triggers them. It's not, it's like,
right.
And we just don't know what that is yet.
Did I tell you, have I talked on this podcast yet about when our kid came home, I was putting her to bed one night, and she's like, "Daddy, what's a they?" And I was like, "Fuck, I don't." She was like 5. I'm like, I thought I had 10 years for this conversation, and I go, I was so not prepared, and I go, it's a person. I don't fully. It's not like I fully have my mind wrapped around it, but it's a person who's decided that they are neither. They feel that they are neither a boy nor a girl. And I was like, and she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, I think I did really well on that. And then there was like a silence, and I go, what are you? I couldn't help myself. It was like that my generation screaming like, ask her.
Well, I feel that same way where you're just like, you're trying to, like, I feel like you're trying to always be like, I know,
Yeah.
I want to sit this, but your kids also are not thinking the same way that you are. Like they have a totally different thought pattern. And it's like, you have to like embrace that they're not where you are in your head. And like my son came home one day and he was like, can I talk to you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, come here. I want to sit down. I was like, okay. And he goes, do you know about the Holocaust?
How old is he?
He is 10 years old. And I was like, oh yeah, I do. And he's like,
it was awesome, right?
he was like, it's pretty bad. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, should we talk to mom about it? And I was like, I think mom has it, right?
You go, don't tell mom. Don't tell mom. I've been keeping
You
this
have
from
to
her.
keep it a secret. But it's like, so it is interesting. It's like, I'm always just trying to meet them at where they're at. So I think the thing that I've done, I talk about this in my book briefly, so it doesn't sound like I'm just talking about it off the top of my head, but there's like a school shooting that my kids were aware for. Like, and that was a big deal. Like and so there are things that went on in school that were protecting, or they were running drills, or they're being a little bit more amplified about it. You know, and I'm freaked out as a parent, like, again, but that night when he came home, I was like, I'm not going to bring my shit to him. I'm going to let him bring wherever he is to me. And that was like a moment that I try to capture, which is just sort of like, you tell me where you are. I'll take my own anxiety. I'll deal with my anxiety over here, but I'm not going to burden you with my fears of what your school is, because the thing is like, he's not smart enough. And then the best way to understand where my fears are. It's like, so I feel like I have to just like drill in on like where his fears are and like what he wants or what he's looking for. And that I think is the biggest difference between like my parents and me, in the sense that like, I'm not saying you're fine. It's okay. Like it's not.
That's what your parents would do?
I think what my parents
they would
be
push past your fear and say, you're okay.
Yeah, you're okay. You didn't break anything. You're okay. Or like, don't worry about that. Like, don't worry about that was like a big one.
That's what I do.
No, honey. You're very nuanced.
But it's just like hearing, because it's like their fear is real, and it could be so small and minor, but it's like just trying to pay attention to what that fear is or what that concern is, because a lot of the times it's very manageable. It's going to get to a point where it's not, but at the same time, if they feel like they can come to you with everything, then when they drop a big bomb on you, you have a little bit more flexibility.
We're so at this trend, like what you're talking about, like is a 10.
Our kids are a little younger.
It's very 10-year-old.
I have an 8 and a 10.
And we're at this phase with our kid, she's 6,
Right.
where it's like, I can feel her aging out of the privilege of knowing nothing. Like, like there's no awareness. There's no awareness. Obviously, the primary characteristic of very young children is their like extreme innocence. And there's no awareness of evil, but I can feel it. It's almost like I can feel it coming. It's also coming to meet her. Like you're saying, you're coming to meet her. Like I can feel that 10-year-old awareness beginning to percolate in her.
Well, it's interesting. I have an 8-year-old and 10-year-old, and you start to see like little subtle shifts. And the 10-year-old feels so much.
Holocaust.
He's seen the
Bergen-Belsen.
I mean, he was like, we can't talk about this in front of Sam.
Or on the 8-year-old.
He can't talk about. Yeah, the 8-year-old can't know about this. The 10-year-old.
Hey,
Did he learn at school?
Yeah, because
by the way,
there's been things people were talking about, issues that were going on. It was a little bit more,
That's a generational shift, because when we were young, your older brother would be like, "I've just found out about that," and then you, as the 8-year-old, would be truly unable to deal
it's like
with
they're
it.
going to wreck everything for you. My 10-year-old knows that there's no Santa. My 8-year-old doesn't, although he suspects it. But my 10-year-old we engaged him on being a part of that, like, you now are the secret keeper of this too. But also pulling that was a really, like, he believed in Santa. He wanted to, I think kids want to believe in Santa, but he was getting
Gentile kids.
Yeah, Gentile, sorry.
Yeah.
And look, and he has a lot of Jewish friends, and they're like,
well, the great joy of the Jewish child, the only joy of the Jewish child around wintertime is to tell their non-Jewish friends, like, as they're doing cartwheels, like, whatever magic you believe in, it's a lie.
It's
and have you heard about the Holocaust?
but so I saw that, like, he's like, I'm only, my friend and I are the only two believers left. And I was like, but is it true? And I would always avoid answering that.
This was Sam or?
This is Gus, my oldest one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'd avoid answering, is Santa, I wouldn't give a yes or no. I was like, well, what do you think?
Yeah,
How do you feel about it?
I do that with God.
Right. Right. So you just like kind of let them dictate the conversation. And then I felt like it was getting to a point.
Yeah.
And we're like, there isn't. And he really freaked out, but it was interesting because it's like he knew it, but he didn't want to let go of it. And then kind of talking about, but also like we didn't trick him. I was talking to somebody on a movie set. It was so crazy. I was telling him I was dealing with this and with my son. He goes, my sister, no one told her until she was 17.
Shut up.
And he goes, and she had like a mental breakdown because she was so happy about it that no one could kind of like get past it. So they kept on, like, they weren't trying to trick her, but no one knew how to like break it to her. And then when they finally did, it just 17.
I was 2 years sober.
At 17. Okay, well, Paul, I want to ask you what you think of this.
Yes.
So our daughter came home from first grade yesterday, and she said, the teacher went around the room and asked everyone what they want to be when they're older.
This was rough in terms of your own fears informing conversation.
Sure, yeah.
All the boys want to be YouTubers.
Oh God.
Every single boy. I and another girl want to be pop stars.
And
then whatever her name is,
she wants to. Oh, please.
Walk the red rope.
And I looked at her. I said, "Walk the red rope."
Yeah.
I said, "Do you mean the red carpet?"
Oh.
She goes, "Yeah, that's it."
Oh my
And
God.
this was all the professions.
It's the most LA group. I'm like, not a fireman. And she saw the funniest part to me. Well, the red rope was pretty damn funny, but she looked at my face like
YouTuber. I'm just
how horrified, and she goes, "Oh, Daddy,
you'll like this.
you'll like this." She goes, blank and blank.
Yeah.
The two immigrants kids. They want to be dentists, and I go, "Yeah."
Oh my God.
I'm not surprised that I didn't say this, but in my mind, I'm not surprised the two immigrants kids want an actual job. They've been modeled actual employment and not YouTuber. They're like, I want to do a slime prank show when I'm 45.
I am so blown away because my kids' three favorite people are Elon Musk, Jake Paul, and Mr. Beast.
What?
Uh-huh.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
I get Mr. Beast, but Elon
he makes
Musk?
chocolate.
Teslas.
Yeah, he's
Teslas
cool.
are like, they love Cybertrucks. They love
What?
Teslas. They are.
Oh my God, this makes sense. They're for 8-year-olds.
Right.
That's who would be impressed with a Cybertruck.
Oh, I mean, 100%. I mean, and they are like, whoa, Cybertruck, like the Lamborghini, Cybertruck, like whatever it is. But then Jake Paul, they don't know of Jake Paul. They don't watch Jake
who's
Paul.
Jake Paul?
Jake Paul.
He's the best boxer in the world, I guess you could say. He's the world's best
boxer.
Is that true?
of all time.
Well, now he is.
He's an athlete?
He is.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
I'm trying to understand, like, because I'm right on, because I'm confused. Logan Paul is different than Jake Paul.
They are different. They're
Does
brothers.
Logan Paul go to our
Logan Paul goes to our synagogue. No, no. Who? What were we gonna say?
No, I'm confused. I guess I don't know all
Jake
these guys.
Paul makes a drink called Prime.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so does that, or Logan Paul? Logan Paul. This is where I've made a mistake. Logan Paul, Elon Musk, and Mr. Beast. Logan Paul makes a drink called Prime that my kids love.
Isn't it an energy drink?
It's like a Gatorade.
Oh
There's one with caffeine and there's one without. They don't drink it, but they admire it. And
What? How do they know about this?
I don't know because they don't
That is
follow
funny.
Logan Paul. There's no Logan Paul that they're watching. I mean, we monitor what they watch. It's like they watch Mr. Beast. Sure.
Mr. Beast is like a YouTube guy?
Yes,
He's
and
the
I've,
YouTube
and
guy.
I've gotten into it, and I feel like he's on the verge of getting canceled.
But
Based
he's
on
doing interesting things, at least.
Yeah, well, here's what I'll say Mr. Beast does. I have been totally captivated by him because he basically creates a 20-minute amazing reality show. Like he creates a 20-minute Survivor. The one that I highly recommend to everybody is he puts a man in a supermarket And he's like, every day that you stay in the supermarket by yourself with no one can come in or out, we'll give you $10,000. And then they just wire up the supermarket with cameras.
What?
And they watch this person go into madness. And you know, it's a
How
wild
many hours
journey.
do you watch?
Well,
Do you just, like,
it's a
check
30-minute video.
He's made it 20 minutes and fun.
Right. So like this guy's in there for X amount of days.
Whoa.
And all the videos are like that. We saw these people could live underground for 3 weeks. Everything is a compacted version of a long like Survivor stuff. They do like real life Squid Game stuff.
Right.
Like, and at first I was like, Mr. Beast. And I'm like, Mr. Beast is pretty fun. I'm watching it and I'm like, he took all the money from Amazon to make a reality show, which is where I think he might be getting canceled because there's a lot of stuff coming up and there's a lot of weird issues going on right now in the Mr. Beast camp. But
Mr. Beastosphere.
yes, yeah.
The beastier.
The Beastosphere. Well, because
It almost feels like an art experiment.
well,
But he doesn't seem like an art
a lot of people
Honey, you seem impressed, but you know what he is, honey.
What?
A YouTuber.
Yeah. He is like I think that the big dig on him is it's poverty porn, right? It's like it's about giving people money, and he doesn't make people get hit by a paintball to give him money, but he's like
People who need money are so desperate, they're like, I'll humiliate myself for 3 days and
but he
starve
doesn't like
myself.
I don't think that he does like he puts himself in that like, he buried himself alive for like 7 days and there's cameras in the coffin.
That's cool.
Yeah, like they've deserted themselves on a desert island. Like they're like he's involved in it too. I'm not here to defend or take down Mr. Beast, but I thought the thing that was actually so interesting was that when Mr. Beast first started, one of his cohorts, one of his other YouTubers, started out as a man and then has transitioned into a woman. And I was like, wow, that was handled with such grace and really well done. I thought across the board, right? And then it just came out that person was like grooming children.
I remember that.
Yeah. So
Not the win you want.
Not, yeah.
But you're right. Mr. Beast handling it with aplomb, and then in the end, it's like, no.
Yeah. And again, Mr. Beast has nothing to do with that, but you're like, yeah. So there's some
Jake
issues.
Paul and Mr. Beast are both YouTubers, and Elon Musk is, I guess, an American hero. I guess just a.
Do you
Elon
ever
Musk
tell your
makes cool
kids-
cars.
Do you ever tell your kids like Elon Musk isn't really that great?
Yes.
He's like
And
fucking
so-
Donald Trump.
How do they do that?
So
deal with that?
what they say is, I love Teslas, and I know Elon Musk is a bad guy, but I really like so they caveat Elon Musk.
Do you guys have Tessies?
Well, I do. And
You do?
I do.
Hold
And
on a
it's like,
second.
yeah, I know.
You drive a Tesla after everything we know?
Well, now
Wow,
I'm kind
weird.
of stuck.
So do you, Moshe.
Wait! Don't tell him that. That's not interesting information. You're Mr. Beast.
I know, I am in. But like, I was peer pressured by my kids into this car, but I also
Oh my
really.
God.
Oh, blame the kids.
But at the same
yes.
time, I really do like the car.
Best car you've ever had.
Yeah, it's pretty
that
amazing.
is the difference. Hey, you know, there's some comfort in the fact that you listen. First of all, we didn't know everything,
Right.
But also, there's no way the CEO of Daimler Chrysler is doing good things in the world.
Mercedes-Benz, look it up. There's some things.
They've
There's
done
a lot
stuff.
of
Come on.
any multi-billionaire has got a lot of skeletons in the closet.
It is getting worse with every passing day. I think today I read the news. I was like, I think maybe a Hyundai.
I felt it today too. I was like, oh, what I wouldn't give, what I wouldn't like right now,
Like Kingdom for a Rivian.
yeah. Like literally, it was like that moment where I was like, "Oh, this is this makes me feel like I'm not thrilled about being in this car."
Yeah,
Really, because he's so closely associated with it. It's like again, like very rarely do you see like the CEO or the and the car are united. Like I can't tell you that for any other brand.
Right.
Andrew Michon, a very funny comedian and a friend of ours, he has a joke. He's like, the difference between them and the other CEOs is, the CEO of Kia, he's not Wario on SNL. He's not like
Right.
in your face,
Right,
like,
yeah.
look at me. But anyway, it is a good car, though. Come on,
It is
Tosh.
like I really do love it, and I'll tell you, as somebody who has to essentially just be Uber all weekend long, driving to soccer and basketball, it is that autopilot on the
You do
straightaway.
autopilot
Autopilot
with
is
the-
dank. It is
Wait,
dank.
hold on. With the kids in the car?
Yeah, because I'm just doing it on straight highways, and
Do you text while you're...
No, you can't, because if your eyes drop, it.
I got to work around.
Oh, wait, glasses.
put on some sunglasses, boy, and it'll leave you alone. I don't do it with the kid, but when I'm alone, I'll put on the sunglasses and it leaves me alone.
Okay.
Honestly, if you wear a MAGA hat too, it lets you text. It's true.
You know what's so funny? You said something before that I thought was like interesting. That's like the whole like the not the politics, whatever, but like because it's like it's not. No one's even talking about it recently about politics.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's a devoid subject.
But you're saying about like having a 6-year-old and this like loss of innocence. And there was a great quote I read, and I'm not going to attribute it to the person because I forgot. But it's talking about like, this whole thing of like make America great again, or this idea of like things were better when I was younger. And somebody said it wasn't better when you were younger. You were just younger. And when you're younger, it
was better,
right? Yeah, because it's like there's no gray. It's like good, bad, like easy. It's like. And I was thinking about that, like as a culture, like we've really gotten into this. Like, oh, it was easier when I didn't have to think about it. Once I have to think about it, once I have to like look at things, it's like, and I feel like that's what you're kind of, as a parent, you have to kind of like make that transition for your kid to be like, it's a privilege to make things more complicated, to find that we can like Cybertruck and also have issues with Elon Musk. We can balance. It doesn't have to just be all one or all the other.
Yeah, I think one of the great heartbreaks that I wasn't prepared for, and I should have been. Everything that's a heartbreak that I wasn't prepared for is just me deciding to be naive about a thing because I knew somewhere. But one of the great heartbreaks is that a big part of parenting is stealing them with enough love and support in their young years so they are prepared for the savagery that they will encounter as they age.
Right.
And that I wasn't ready for. You don't like it?
I'm going through a hard time.
Okay.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
Them having anything besides, to me, the hardest thing about being a parent is like saying no to her.
But it's like
I just want to say yes to everything.
Somebody called
make her life easy.
My son, I can share this. I think my son is not overweight. Not in any way. He's like height-wise big for his age, right? Like he looks older than he is. Somebody called him a fat pig, right? And he came home and it was really interesting because his brother told us, like somebody called him a fat pig.
A kid.
And Elon Musk, actually.
Well, he said he was voting Kamala. That was his mistake.
It was really crazy. So,
hey, wait till Donald Trump's president again. You don't think people are going to be calling
it'll be adults. It'll become adults. Yeah. No, it was the superintendent.
Okay. So he
called me, and I was, but he didn't tell us, right? And so I was kind of cozying up to him and just kind of feeling him out to see if I could get it out of him. And we finally did. And I go, how did it make you feel? And he's like, well, I'm not. And I was like, oh.
You did your job.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, great, yes.
Oh.
And it was like, and that was, I feel like those are the wins that I'm trying to take.
That is
like,
a win. That's
beautiful. You can't
beautiful.
stop somebody from calling you a fat pig.
Yeah.
But you can be confident enough in yourself to know that A, you don't care, or B, you're not, even if you are, whatever it is. Like, and I felt like that was like, that's all I want to do. And I feel like if we can, then we can do that. We can just surround them so they feel confident enough in themselves.
That's so interesting because in preschool, our daughter kept apologizing for things. And the preschool teacher was like, that might be coming from you.
Oh, wow.
And I realized, like, I kept saying sorry, and then and I kind of stopped saying it, and then she stopped saying it.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like, wow, they really do mirror you in a way. But we actually had a worse situation than this. Like, she came home the other day and said that someone was like, you're annoying, and something like yelled
You
at
talk
her.
too much.
You talk too much.
And I was kind of like, sounds like a chip off the old block.
and we were like, okay, well, what did you do? And she's like, well, I apologized to her.
That's pretty bad.
And we were like,
I said,
Moshe was like, what did you say?
I said, you don't ever have to apologize to someone else because they're being mean to you.
Right.
You can stand up for yourself and say, I didn't like how you talked to me. You don't have to apologize for that.
Well,
I feel like I could be different in my life. Maybe I made her do that.
But I think that that's a tricky one for them to wrap their head around, because on the surface,
Totally.
It's like, oh, you're being too loud. It's like, oh, I guess I am being, or I'm talking to, like, she is technically doing that, and in a way that's like, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. So I think it's hard for them to go like, oh, like, did do that. So I guess I'm sorry, but it's not realizing how.
I guess I was trying to build up the concept.
You were right.
You being yourself. I told her, I said, if someone ever says that to you, again, you look in the eye, you just say, you fucking fat pig.
See, that's the way you do it.
That's how you get.
And I think, what you're saying, I think you did it the right way. I'm just saying it's a hard, but
It is. There's a logic bump in there for sure.
Yeah. It's and it's funny because I find that my youngest will do anything for a laugh, and
Same.
and we have to then really rein that in and be like, you can't there was a giant a bouncy castle thing at school, and one of his friends said, I dare you to pour water on the engine that keeps the the thing going. And he's like, oh, I'll do it. And he was did it because it was a dare, but it was also funny to do it. And short circuited the thing, and the castle went down. And it's we're you don't have to. It's he will go he'll push it one step further, and we don't know how to pull that back because we're doing bits in the house and we push things and it's all in jest. We're not, but we know where that line is of breaking something and being funny.
How do you reprimand him for that? Because you're he could have hurt himself.
Yeah, well, we talk about how it's dangerous, right? That activity is dangerous. We don't want to put water and electric together. We get into
it is funny.
Yeah,
those are funny.
Now it is.
Those are a funny
good.
combo.
And now you'll see to short circuit the bouncy house when every kid is inside it is a funny.
There's lightning bolts going up your body, and you go rigid, and you fall over backwards, and there's a little plume of smoke,
and birds come around your head. That's right. But yeah, no, I don't We deal with it I think not the right way, but we do have that conversation where it's a little bit, it is it's not you're in trouble, go to your room. It's this is why we think it's bad. And it's not always a yell as much as it is let's talk about it. What that wasn't good. Don't do that. And that I feel that hopefully will make register a little bit more because it's yelling, I don't think you'll understand why we were yelling.
Or even putting them in their bedroom.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with our kid about that specific impulse, which was being funny, and she is, and I'm sure your kids are too. It's it's not only in their blood, but also what they know that mommy and daddy light up for is is a responsibility. It's it's a when you're funny and you're young, it's very tempting to try to be funny at all costs, and sometimes you'll end up hurting people. And part of the responsibility of a person that tries to use humor is to regulate that. Am I being mean? And I think as comedians, kids, that's important.
Well, look, I'll tell you that when I was a kid, I probably did the most dangerous thing ever to be funny, which was we had a bus driver whose name was Steve Martin. And I thought that was the funniest thing of all time that we had. Our bus driver was Steve Martin. And when Steve Martin was driving a school bus, a big school bus, the long one, not the short one, the big one, I went up to him and covered both of his eyes while he was driving.
I swear to God, I did that too.
You did it too?
I did it too. And
you covered the bus driver's eyes?
And she pulled over and started crying.
I mean, Steve Martin brought the whole bus into school. And
yeah. What is wrong with us?
I don't know, but it was funny.
Did you look at him and go, I'm a wild and crazy guy?
Steve, we harassed this man to no end. And he was kind of nice. One time he got up to yell at us. And when he got up, I went to the ignition, pulled the keys out and chucked them out the window.
Jesus, this is schoolyard bully shit.
Bus
and his only
are kind of pitiful in a way. They're just kind of easy to make fun of. They kind of don't like their jobs.
His only sin was being named Steve Martin.
100%. But that's the thing. It's again, blindfolding anyone while driving, I don't even know if that's funny as much as it is.
It's just bad and dangerous.
But it's you're this is funny, right? Because I'm putting myself in danger too. We're all going to die.
What else is crazy about the bus drivers, they can't really tell your parents.
Yes.
They're not really your teacher. They're not writing assessments.
So they're just transportation.
They're below the line.
Yeah.
They're definitely below the line of anything that can... Although I do remember a bus driver visiting our house. I think I was mean to a few bus drivers, but...
Jeez, guys.
Well, bus drivers were a great and I'm not recommending it, but it was a great place to take out your anger at school, at friends, or whatever. Like, fuck this bus driver.
No,
it's like Walmart greeter level. Like,
there's this article that if you're ever bored,
yeah,
is worth a read. And I think it's in the East Bay Express, the free paper in the East Bay.
Okay.
There was this guy growing up. There was a famous hot dog place on UC Berkeley campus, right off UC Berkeley campus, called Top Dog, and it was open all night, and everybody went there, and it was just like a place you went.
Right.
And there was a guy there was the Top Dog guy, and he was young and cool, but he wasn't. It was maybe 35, and
Okay.
he'd been there forever, and he just was like never gonna not be there.
Right.
And he still works there, and they finally interviewed him. Like, what's up? Who are you? He'd been there 20 years. And he's like, well, I went to the school across the street. He has I think maybe a master's degree. I don't know. Certainly a bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley, one of the top universities in the country. And he's like, and then I got out and I got this job. And I realized it's all an illusion. Like the value that you place on your life based upon what it is that you do for work in order to pay your bills is all externally created bullshit. And work is work, and there's nothing different about this work than any other work. And I decided that this was righteous work, and I decided I would just dedicate my life to this. It was this.
That's just if you don't have like talent.
No, I don't know.
No,
to me,
because
this guy was like a monk. It was like a hot dog monk, and it was like a meditation on the value of. It was like Zen
Right.
and the art of hot doggery.
Well, it's so interesting because I have my dad is a pharmacist. And he opened up a pharmacy with his friend, and his friend is one of 16 kids. And
It's a lot.
a lot of kids. So much so that my wife's dad would see some of those kids running around the neighborhood when he was growing up, because there were just so many of them that you knew that this is the family with 16 kids. But one of the kids went to MIT on scholarship, like a math genius, graduated MIT and just has driven a cab ever since. Never did it. It's almost like you're too smart, or you just like something clicks.
Right.
Nope, I don't
Yeah.
need to, like, and it's like maybe it is this like elevated idea where I don't need to walk the red rope. I don't need to
Get me off the red rope.
But like, it's like it's an interesting idea, like, because I think that we're so success driven, or I don't even know if it's success driven, but our culture is like, well, you got it. We are constantly asking a gatekeeper to open a gate for us, right? And whether or not our self-worth is determined by that is less important than. But we, at a certain point, we have to be like, yeah, well, I got to do this thing, whatever it is. If it's selling tickets, or if it's selling a book, if it's whatever it is, we're just begging, like, open your door to us, open. And so I think we are stuck in this cycle no matter what. I remember hearing Tom Hanks say this thing where they were like, you've done everything, you've won Academy Awards, you did this, and he goes, well, I wish I would get offered more parts.
What?
And like,
That's a brain infection.
he like literally said,
How about you wish you hung out with your kids more?
well, like he said something that I thought, like, and I feel like I'm going to misquote it again, but it was something that was like, I just want to get the parts that people want Tom Hanks types for. Like, he was upset that he wasn't getting like the
Tom Hanks?
Like, Tom Hanks was saying, like, I'm like, people are writing things like for Tom Hanks, but not for him, Tom. And it's like, but that's like this fucked up thing. It's like, you are Tom Hanks. You've won Academy Awards. You're funny. You're dramatic. You've done it all. You know, whatever it is. But you're still feeling like, I wish I could get that part. I feel like I'm missing out on something that I want to get. And it's like, God damn it. If that's the way it is, like, I think you have to be content with being like, okay, well, I just have to be happy on some. I have to be happy on some level, on base level.
Whatever this is, it's got to be enough.
Or quit comparing yourself to extreme narcissists and sociopaths. Not that Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is a huge sociopath, one of our biggest, one of our most
but
famous.
I'm just saying, it's like.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Unless you.
Well, I was going to say, like, I think that's the thing that I learned the most about having my wife and my kids, like, first wife, but then kids. It's like, well,
she's your first wife. You're probably
my first wife.
You kind of scored.
She's the best. But this idea of, like, no matter what, like, the best day is made better by them, and the worst day is not that bad because it's them. It's like
they're there.
Yeah, and it's like,
Aw,
and
Paul, that's so
Even when
But-
you're not getting Paul Scheer type roles.
Exactly. But I mean, but like and that's the last 5 years has been, right? Like to a certain extent, it's like whether it's COVID or the strikes, like, well, we don't have this fake world that we're living in ultimately. Like, so that's what we have. And it's like, I'm so happy to have that and be like, well, because that's what really matters. I mean, and look, I still want to do things. I still have desire and drive, but it's nice to have like a more solid base, like to be like, this is.
I've said this before, but one of the things that struck me the most in the pandemic was this rabbi talking on that I just like scrolled through, and he was saying like, what we are is we are our friends and our success and our career and our social life and our professional life and our strivings, and then something like this occurs, and all of those things are immediately snatched away from us, and we're still here. And so we go, it was like this forced realization that there is a self underneath the stories that we tell ourselves about what the self is. It's like my career is gone, my social life is gone, I'm sitting in here, my family's here obviously, but there's still me. And I thought I was all of these external things, and when they go away, I'm still me, and I just have to like, this has to be enough no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that's like hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to sit in nothing. Right, like or like it's hard to sit in like that. I think that's why people get so nervous about like, well, meditation is scary, and even like anything that you do where you're just alone with your thoughts is a scary thing for some people. And these things have forced us into these moments where you're just like, oh shit, okay, And I feel like it's a good practice to just remember like, yeah, we have to be more than our parts, because who knows?
Literally more than our parts. The parts we're offered.
Yeah.
We have to.
Not Tom Hanks' parts.
We have people standing by. So we have to go. But I had one more final question for you.
Well, they want to talk to you.
Yeah, they want to talk to you.
Oh, wow.
But to you getting upset about the trauma that is inevitable. Your book is about trauma, and some of the traumas are great traumas in the book.
Sure.
And I am curious, and I think I know the answer, but maybe I don't. Would you take back any of those traumas?
No, I think that's like, I was thinking about this in that sense of, I don't know who I am without these things, right? Everything has made me, and I feel like, in reading your book, the same thing. It's like, that's my building blocks. I am a different person if I don't have these.
But I want the trauma to stop now.
Yeah.
I'm good.
No more.
Right, yeah. But no. Yeah, I want to
No more trauma.
No more. Finally,
No more
let's
trauma.
just drop it. But I think it's like, it is like, I think we are always going to be, I don't know. I think it's like just developing those better tools so we can hopefully get through them. And I don't know. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't get easier, and I watch, it's interesting. I talk to, I'm going to go, I won't make it depressing and just say like this. Yes, you're right. No more trauma.
No more trauma.
All right, listen, we are going to take a call.
Hey, Tosh.
Yeah?
Are you into anal play or role play in the bedroom? You see, that kind of hesitation is the difficulty that so many couples have. As the hosts of the Endless Honeymoon podcast, we have noticed over the years that a lot of people are having conversations with themselves that they should be having directly with their partners. But it's so hard, right?
You're very open, Moshe.
Well, it's difficult to have tough conversations, to say, I want more of this. I'm not getting enough of this. I wish we could do this. I really want you to peg me.
That's where Aria comes in, your go-to guide for all things sex and intimacy. Aria makes it easy for couples to break out of their routine, deepen emotional connection, and energize their relationship with curated experience called Scenes.
You're an actress. We could do some scenes together.
Just take a quick quiz about your relationship, and Aria's concierge will send you everything you need to explore something new every month. You'll get expert insights, step-by-step guidance, and a box of high-end goodies delivered right to your door. Aria takes care of the details so you can focus on each other.
This is more than just a box of dildos coming to your door. They're pairing you with someone that's going to help you get through these kinds of desires that you have without having to have all this arduous mental work about how do I communicate this to my partner. They take the mental load off of you by figuring out how to spice things up for you and giving you suggestions and doing the work for you. And they send you everything that you need.
People come to Aria for many reasons, whether you're stuck in a routine,
Yes.
seeking deeper emotional intimacy,
No.
yes, or wanting to infuse more play into your relationship.
Anal.
Not for me. Aria makes it easy for couples to connect by crafting customized intimate experiences called Scenes, tailored to your needs.
I am telling you, having done this podcast, this is a service that people need because for some reason, the people that are closest to us can become the people the most difficult to have a tough conversation with about how to get closer. Aria takes care of that for you. You just do this. Find the concierge. They take all the thought out of trying new things with your partner so that you can get into some action.
They set you up with a dedicated concierge who's available anytime you need them and sends tips and tricks weekly to help you get started.
Aria is not for young people. It's not for older people. It's not for straight people. It's not for queer people. It's for every kind of person. It's not for cis people or trans people. They have a suggestion for you, no matter who you are, no matter what stage in your relationship you are. We could all use a little bit more intimacy.
It's easy to get started with a fun, private quiz to understand you as a couple.
And not just you as a couple. I took the quiz and I understood what my own needs were because I'd never taken a quiz like that. At the end of it, I felt more informed about what I want. And I think we all know what that is. It's a threesome.
You can also use what's in this box to think outside of the box. Visit Aria, ARYA.FYI, and use code HONEYMOON for 15% off today.
You could be closer to your partner than you ever were, and you could support this podcast too. Now you got me all thinking, what was this depressing anecdote you're about?
Well,
were you going
no.
to tell us about the Holocaust? We know about that.
Oh, thank
Our
God.
child doesn't,
Oh
though.
my gosh.
No, our child doesn't.
Let
You know what?
Can I go wake her up and just
No, actually, I've got a better idea. Let's have your son come over.
Just
Hey,
drop it.
sit down. I got a lot to unpack for you.
Well,
you know what's been amazing? Like this is a weird side tangent, but like I have gotten into basketball a lot, and we watch the Clippers, and the family watches Clippers, and when they lose, my son's so like, okay, yeah, they got another game, or they have like that's next year, and I'm like, oh, that's I want to like steal that point of view of like, okay, next one, and there's no. It's like he has object permanence, but it's like, but this idea of like, oh yeah, right, next year, we'll do it next year.
Gen Alpha, they're kind of evolved.
Yeah, they really are.
I think it's going to be great. They're going to save us.
There you go. It's going to be great. All right, we are going to call, with all of this great wisdom,
Okay.
Paul, we are going to call
Jamie in San Diego, or maybe Jaime. Let's see.
I would never have thought. Hi.
Jamie.
It's a
It's
Jaime.
Jamie.
No, it's Jamie. I literally can't
It
see
could
you.
be either one.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
close
yeah.
to the border.
Right. Wait, in what way? You mean the geographical border or the border between Jaime's and Jamie's? It can mean either thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, Jamie, it's Natasha and Moshe and our friend Paul Scheer.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
What's up?
Yeah, how can we help you?
Ooh, okay. I think I got a good one for you. My question is, how do I redirect conversations with my dad when he brings up politics?
I'm assuming he's a big Kamala head, and that can be difficult. That can be difficult. That can be difficult.
Loves her.
he
Yeah,
loves
loves her.
This is a good question for me because it's something that I'm dealing with a lot. My
Son.
dad, my son, my dad and his wife are Catholic, and they have for many years been like, we have one issue that we're voting on, and that one issue is abortion, right? And there is no acknowledgement that anything else comes with it. You know, like you know, and I've tried multiple tacks. I'm like, well, are you pro-life or are you just anti-abortion? Because I think I'm like, you know, like we'll talk about it. Like, well, we don't want abortions. Well, why? Because you can't kill a baby. Okay, well then what about if you want to keep that baby alive? What about this? What about this? What about all these other things that are God-like? That doesn't work. You know. Then I tried to be like let's talk about research. Like he sent me something that was from a pamphlet that had no real backing, and it seemed like an opinion, and there were some facts in there that were not quoted as what they were. And I was like, well, look at this. And they said, well, how do I know your facts are right? Okay, well, that's not going to work. Okay, so, all right, well, mine are from government organizations. There's some numbers in here. This is not just pulled from a pamphlet, right? And so, you know, and what I quickly realized was there's never going to be, like, I'm not going to connect here. Like, I've tried and I've been loving, and I've said to my dad, I don't care who you vote for. I love you. I'm not here to change your mind. And so I want to talk to you about it. I want you to be open to talk to me about it. But we've stopped convincing. There's no convincing, right? Like, and that.
Have you told him Trump has probably paid for like 9 abortions?
Oh, I mean, it doesn't make.
You think you're gonna give him the breakthrough?
This is the thing. It's like there's really
fake.
no.
They're preying on one issue voters.
Well, that's it, and there's just no way around it, right? And I was hoping like maybe if I could really just have a conversation because I think that this is like I know who he is as a person, but this one thing trumps every bit of logic, and so the way that I've dealt with it, and maybe this is a bad thing, but we just don't talk about it. And I don't ask, I don't tell, but I did tell him the other day. I said to him, I go, can I give you a little bit of advice? Don't tell anybody that you're like, it's been now so many years with Trump. Just don't talk about it. You know it's going to alienate people, and you know that we're not going to see eye to eye. So just don't. Just don't like. I said that makes me think that you're an idiot because at this point you're not. I've realized it's not going to work. So like, why are you? And they're like, our friends won't talk to us. I'm like, yeah, because you keep on talking. Yeah, I'm like, stop. Like. Be a secret Trump voter. I don't care, but it's like, and that's the thing. I mean, so I don't know if that's an answer as much as it is. It's where I've come to peace with them because I just don't know. It's like I love my dad. I love having that relationship. I'm not gonna. I can't. There's nothing. I could bring a priest here. I've heard my parents. My dad says, "Well, I don't like this Pope." Well, if you don't like the Pope, what am I gonna do? Who can I bring in front of you that is gonna appeal to any common sense? It's not.
So I think the problem with my dad at this point is, I mean, nothing will convince him to vote otherwise.
Yeah.
And I think with him, he's like a 5-year-old child trapped in like a 72-year-old's body. So he loves poking the bear.
The alienation. That's the joke I was going to make, actually, is that your dad looked at you and he goes, son, the alienation, that's the point. But it's sort of true. There's a certain thing in politics, in modern politics, extremely modern politics, and I don't think it's exclusive to one side, but I would say it's heavily weighted on one side, which is that it's not just that you want to win, you also want to you want agony for your adversaries. You want it to hurt. You want it to win and it to hurt.
Well, maybe to your point, treat him like a 5-year-old, which is like it's like, okay, whatever. It's like, because it's like the minute I have to stop caring about it's like, and I know it's like get under your skin. Well, I had to sit in a car ride where my stepmom was very active and was like, well, the abortion's at 9 months. And I'm like, she's and I'm like, and I was also told that they're bringing trans people are coming into hospitals and they're forcing doctors to make their breasts lactate. That was, and I sat there and I was like,
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
They're Haitian trans people that.
Is this something they get from the news? Like
I don't even know. And it's like, and
it's like Reddit too.
Yeah, it's just like it's nonsense. But I feel like I have to like treat it like my son coming home and talking about a level of like Fall Guys he played. I'm like, oh wow, whoa, that sounds tough. I'm like, I'm not. I don't hear a word.
Funny,
don't hear a word he's saying. I'm like,
that is so funny you say that. It made me remember this night I was at a Shabbat dinner many years ago at the Chabad rabbi's house in Berkeley, and they are extremely religious. They're not chill, progressive. Guaranteed this guy was also pro-life. I don't even know. He certainly was not a political progressive. And this woman at the Shabbat dinner who nobody knew at some point stood up and she basically gave the speech that your mom and dad would give about abortion. And she's just like, they're killing the kids. They're killing these kids. Blah, blah. And the rabbi looks up and he goes, ooh, I hate when that happens. And he like immediately changes the subject. So maybe that's something like, I think Paul's onto something. If he's acting like a 5-year-old, treat him like a 5-year-old. Like maybe like have a sit down with him and say, Dad, you know that it provokes me when you talk about politics. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And then every other time he brings it up, you go, no, now Dad, we discussed this.
But here's what I'll say too. And you saying that made me realize he may be doing it because he gets a rise out of you. If you just shut it down, even without that conversation, you might actually diffuse it Like that's what I kind of do. Like I could sit there and go, what are you talking about? Abortion at 9 months? Or I just go, oh wow. Yeah, well, politics, whew, and I pretend like
don't repeat this to your friends.
Right. Yeah. Because it's like
no, you're right. Like it might take a little bit more effort on my end and just
blow it out
like a stress ball.
Well, I think the main point is that Paul's making, and I think it's true, that there comes a certain point, especially with parents, but with people in general, with politics, where you go, this is no longer, there is no fruit that can come from the argument or the debate. It will not change anybody's mind. And then
that goes with anything. If you don't see eye to eye and you guys don't see reality in the same way, you're never going to come to terms, and no one's changing. So what's the point?
It's the basis of social media too, right? They have that there's an article came out that said that a lot of social media algorithms are forcing things that you don't like, so they engage you in anger, right?
What?
Yeah, right. Like it's like it invests, because you see something pretty like a rainbow and a dog, you're like, oh yeah. But if you see somebody be like, hey, chick, like whatever, you're
outrage.
like, oh fuck
they want
this,
you to, like, out
right? Yeah, and so that I feel like that energy of you just being like letting, you're right. It takes like that, walk out of the room, take a breath, but like don't show that to him. It probably will lessen that punch, because there's no feedback, right? And the feedback, I think, is a part of it. It's like you need it, and then if you're not a good sparring partner, then it will drop.
And the algorithm is actually more evil than that. It sees what you don't like, and then it doesn't just show you more of that, it shows you worse of that. And then you get to the trans people with guns to a doctor's head going, make my tits lactate.
I mean, I couldn't even understand how that was possible. I will tell you this, it also works in a terrible way, where I was into this thing called the Castle Flex. It's like a stretching thing for your leg. I said it once. My feed now is exclusively Castle Flex. Yeah. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I looked on eBay for a Castle Flex, and now I am done.
It's getting bolder, isn't it? It's not. Yeah. It used to be like, are they listening? And now it's like, no, they're fucking.
They're a hammer over
they're listening.
Yeah. I opted out of the whole thing. I don't even have an algorithm. So
wow. Yeah, she's post algorithm, but you also don't know who Jake Paul is from Mr. Beast. So there we go.
All right. Well, good luck. I think it's just don't engage. I mean, you can't. The holidays are coming up, and I think with all this stuff, with kids stuff, with this stuff, with your parents, it's like it's all an exercise in making yourself better, and how you can have more restraint, and how you can deal with things and internally better.
Here's a great thing you can do. Right. If you have a little bit of money, make a $5 donation in his name to a lot of progressive candidates, and so all of a sudden, and put his phone number there, and that's a fun, that's a fun way to. So then he's going to be inundated with numbers of donating to this PAC and this thing. Yeah, just do a $5 donation, do a bunch of them. Go to everybody that you could think of and flood it.
And does she admit it if he says anything?
Nope, never say a goddamn word.
But I also think
so weird. I don't know why you're getting all this Harris coming to your door.
I love this idea, the $5 donation, and I also think what Natasha said is very wise. You could look at it like a spiritual quest that you're on. Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming. Let's see if you can successfully change the subject when politics comes up. Like almost put like a bracelet on your wrist that is to remind you that when your dad tries to poke the bear, you go the other way. You be the peaceful bear, be Winnie the Pooh, and see if you can get through a whole Thanksgiving without getting triggered once.
I love that. And if you can't, I believe there's a website called Pete's Pranks, and you can send people in your life pranks that are perfect for this. Like you can say like it almost comes to your house in a giant envelope, says like, thank you for your donation to the Harris Walls campaign.
That's so awesome.
And so all your neighbors get to see it, and there's a bunch of.
That's great.
I might want to do a Pete's prank on some people.
Let's Pete's prank some people. All right, good luck out there.
All right, bye,
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
All right, so that was great advice, Paul. You had tons of it. I mean, it sounds like you're dealing with it.
I mean, I'm trying. Yeah, I think we're all trying to figure out how to, not end friendships. I think the thing that's so sad though is that they've alienated all their friends. Like it's one thing to alienate me, like whatever, but to alienate your own friends.
But let's face it. If this was like Jason Mantzoukas and he's like, yeah, I just vote for Trump now.
That's a different story.
If it's your own friend, I think you kind of cut those people out, right? We just can't cut out our family.
Yeah, right. Well, because it's sort of like, it's different, right? It's hard. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to like walk a line with.
I'm not trying to hang out with people who vote for Trump.
I mean either, but yeah, I mean,
and I think I would probably not be friends with anyone.
Well, I to your point, I think that like all relationships I've always thought are like an equation. Do I get more out of this than it takes from me? Some people in our life, especially in our field, are difficult, but they're brilliant, and we go, you know what, it's worth it.
Right.
Your parents are sort of outside of the equation. Unless they're so abusive that you go, you must leave. Your parents are outside of the equation. You go, geez, you're kind of here and you're not going. If that's what family is, you're kind of here, you're not going anywhere unless I make a really severe decision. And so I must find strategies and techniques.
Right, because
to
it's like at the same time, it doesn't like ultimately affect your day-in-day life in a way. I will say that I did pull the greatest prank on my grandma, which was she's obviously... not a fan of Obama. This is a while ago when Obama was leaving office, and I set up this prank for a very long time, like about 4 months.
I love this.
So I
pranking grandma.
I know my grandma who's like in her mid 90s now. So I tell her that I'm working with the Obama campaign. I'm doing some stuff, and she's like, "Oh God, oh no," and then I have my mom drop that. Oh yeah, Paul's working with Obama. Got it. And then I had different people drop it to her every time she gets really upset. I'm going to be in New York. What are you doing in New York? Oh, I'm working with Obama in New York. Okay, wow. What are you doing? I have to do this thing. I keep on dropping it. And then she knows I'm in New York. So I call her, and it's part of the Howard Stern. I did it with Howard Stern. And I get on, I go, Grandma, I am on the Today Show right now. We can't get enough donations for Obama. I'm going to put one under your name. Don't worry, I'll pay for it. But I'm going to say on the Today Show that gave this money. I shouldn't say your name. I'm going to put your name on. Yeah, I say gave this money to Obama. Just no. And I was like, oh, he's coming right here. He's right here. And then we got an Obama impersonator on the phone. And then my grandma talked to Obama on the phone and was so rude to him.
No, she was.
She said, "Hello, Barack." And then he got inappropriate with her at points, and she got inappropriate with him, and it was her dismissiveness of he was the president at that point. It was like,
can we find this on YouTube?
Oh, I can. You can. I can play for you before I leave.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God! And is her main beef just he's a Democrat?
Yeah,
that's her main beef.
Yeah.
That's got to be the main beef. And by the way, though, I can't imagine if somebody pulled an equally convincing prank on me and then put me on the phone with Donald Trump. I wouldn't be like, "Hello, Don."
Right.
Yeah. I know.
Right. You're like,
I can't imagine.
It's like. But you know what was so funny? It was like, because he was look, there are people that I don't love, but you see somebody, you want to be a nice social setting. It's like, there's still an air of celebrity. Like if I met a president, I mean, Trump is the real outlier of this, but like,
he's charming. You'd think he was funny.
Well, but a perfect example is like, let's go back to normal times. Say like George W. Bush. You met George W. Bush. You'd be like, I would be like, fuck you. You would be like, oh, nice to meet you. Like you may not be.
I would.
We duck
Man
it.
of integrity, he would. He would get away.
But it's like, I think that there's a certain, like, there was at least a certain civility to things. Like you wouldn't just be like,
Have you ever met anybody like kind of evil? I met Ann Coulter on my show on Comedy Central.
Oh yeah.
She was evil?
No. What I'm saying is, I found her very charming.
Well, that's the whole.
And
secret.
I wasn't fooled. Like, oh, this is a good person. I must have been wrong about her. It's like,
no, someone said it to us, though. We figured it out. She's just like deeply, deeply religious. Like a friend was like, he sent her she sent him an email and was like, well, I'm so sorry your mom died. Hopefully she's with Jesus now.
You see, I think that there's a certain thing too, where a lot of these like personalities that are the real vicious, gross ones, like they're feeding on that algorithm too. It's like,
totally.
oh, I'm just feeding meat to the base. I met somebody who was straight up awful. I knew this person was awful, and I was wary of them because they were awful, and I held them at a distance, but I was polite in my distance. And that was, it's tricky. It's like, I mean, that's the benefit. I feel like we don't really come across too many awful. I mean, I don't like.
It's just cool you met Scorsese. I think that's cool. Okay, do we have one more call?
Wait, we're gonna do one question.
Do you have time for a quick written question and then a call?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're going to call Olivia in Portland.
All right.
Here.
You guys think it's Maine or Oregon?
Oh, hello.
Hi, Olivia. We're here with, it's me, Natasha, and our friend Paul Scheer.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
So how can we help?
So I am contacting you guys. My situation, I had a situationship with a gentleman that had lasted 5 years. I broke it off like 2 years ago because he was fine with it staying where it was. And I wasn't. I wanted something more. So I was like, all right, can't do this. Bye. And I thought we were on the same page, that he understood that's why I was breaking off contact. And then like last week or the week before, I checked LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, I had a message from him, and it was pretty long. Like several paragraphs just kind of saying like, don't know why you had to cut off contact with me. I did know that you wanted something more. I didn't. I'm sorry about that. I messed up. I realized like you actually liked me, but so essentially and also the message that he sent was on the 4th of July. So it's actually been like 3 months. It's a weird day to send.
A day you get drunk.
Like
Yeah, that's fair.
So much of my other friends said too. It was 10 in the morning that he sent it, so I don't know.
It's a special kind of pathetic to slide into someone's LinkedIn. that's a low
because
point.
he definitely has your email, right? And
phone number.
Yeah, so he said he didn't have my phone number anymore in the message, but he for sure had my email. And like, if I look him up on Instagram, I can see him. You know what I mean? So
right.
So did you write back?
I haven't written back anything yet.
Is that what you're asking? Should you write this guy? Are you like curious about what may be?
Yeah, kind of like, because
Are you curious about his employment history at all? Because you could just scroll right up. It's right there.
Slide into your LinkedIn.
Slid into your LinkedIn's. There's something there.
I feel like you have already broke this person unintentionally.
Yeah.
Because whatever, if it was real and not drunk, he is now, you iced him again. Don't reopen that wound. I feel like you got it. Like that email you never got it. Like,
interesting.
You're like, don't even like
don't
respond.
go there.
It's too late.
Are you hiring at all? Are you hiring? Yeah. I don't know. I kind of disagree.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of you that's wondering maybe he's changed. Maybe I thought when you were saying, Paul, she broke him, that maybe now he will be not be the commitment phobe that he was before.
Well, but the fact that you didn't respond to him for 3 months, like if it was,
it is a lot.
If it was like August, I would have a different point of view. It's almost November, and I feel like he went from I want to talk to her to like fuck her to now.
It's soured.
I feel like it's so much of a. Yeah,
I have the best answer.
Yeah.
You should go in and just, I don't know, I've never been on LinkedIn, but can you just heart it?
Oh no, that's gonna drive
mean.
him. That's gonna drive him crazy.
That's so mean.
Good. Fuck him.
Why?
Because she wanted a relationship, and he was like, no, I don't want that. And then one lonely 4th of July, 5th of July morning, he decides to like.
But what if this
some
person's
missive.
like? What if this person now has changed, like you said, reaches out to you in July, and like I'm ready. And then from July to November, he's found somebody who's maybe interested in them. And
Or a job, at least.
Right, or a job. And then you come back in, you may be messing up the whole thing.
Interesting.
Whereas maybe what you do is you comment on Instagram post.
like this.
And then
See if he give him another way to contact you if he so
right.
desires.
And then you say, I never saw that LinkedIn.
To your grave. To your grave, you never saw the LinkedIn. Because the truth is, I like that advice, because the truth is it's a way for him to contact you if he's still interested, and you don't ever remind him of what is clearly a humiliating memory for him.
Right.
He's in therapy right now going, and it's fucking 4th of July.
No, it probably says red though.
Oh, on LinkedIn? No.
They got to keep that shit separate. Like
that's right.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's like, I think it's like bosses can't. This is what because I really do think that like you gotta pretend like you've never seen that. And And if and then you can just suss out if you have a casual DM and see where he's at. And then if he says, "Oh, did you ever get my email?" Just say no.
And you've got the ultimate alibi too. It's like, "What? Did you get my message on LinkedIn?" You go, "On LinkedIn? I know."
By the way, you can say, "Oh, I'll go check," and then you can say, "Oh, I just read it." Like if you,
Paul,
you can go back and then you did read it, and there we are.
Oh, big brain Paul over there.
One more
I love
thing
it.
too. Before you comment on his Instagram post, make sure you post a really cute picture of yourself so that he's going to, just kind of curate your profile a little bit so he can kind of check in and see where you're at. That's all. So
you're just like, you've been ruminating thinking, I wonder what he's up to. I want to contact him. Is that right?
Yeah. And like trying to halfway also being like, oh, if he does contact me via something else, then if I've responded to these thoughts, you know what I mean?
Just listen to what Paul said, because you're going to contact him. I know this energy. You will contact him. Do exactly as Paul said.
Yeah. Let him direct you to the thing. If he never mentions LinkedIn, you don't mention LinkedIn.
Yep.
And if, and then at one point, if you do connect with him, it will come up at one point. You play dumb until the very end.
Yep. And then when you guys get married, not that you will, because he's extremely afraid of commitment, you invite the CEO of LinkedIn to Zoom in and give a toast, and then it'll be your little secret. I knew it the whole time.
Now, Natasha, how would you say that she should like engage with him on Instagram? Because that's something that I would know how do you find that right middle ground of hi, but also like opening a door.
I'm here.
Well, you try to be funny.
Okay.
Right.
You write
funny always works.
I wouldn't be like, 3 fire emojis
right
on a hot picture of him. I would be more like, I don't know, something like just funny and
I like that.
Short.
Humor does a lot of heavy lifting because it's going, hey, I'm here and I think you're cool still.
And you get a chance to engage. Like there'll be a heart if they like it, and then you can see where that goes. Maybe it even gives a couple Instagram comments as over the course of some time. Who knows?
Yes, and there's a really cool article you could link in his comments about how trans people are coming into hospitals and forcing the doctors to make them lactate. That could be a good way to get his attention.
She doesn't even know what that is.
You don't even know the joke we're referring to.
And
that was a new one.
And don't go through and comment like a picture that's like 5 weeks old.
No.
Like it has to be.
Can I tell you this? This is the worst experience of my life. So I had worked with somebody. I won't even give you the specifics around it. But I was like, oh, I'm very surprised at this thing. There was a element of this person that was interesting. And my sister-in-law was over the house, and she's like, wait, can I see what that person is? And I showed the Instagram, and my sister-in-law was like scrolling through and accidentally hearted.
I hate it. I hate
old ass post, but it was on my account.
I hate it so
and I was
much.
like, oh no. Then I had to create a crazy liking pattern on a bunch of different. I was like, I didn't know what to
liking
that is
I had to create like, oh, I like this, and I went over here, and I went over.
It's like, Paul, I was 17 in that photo. You scrolled so deep in the. Here's an idea.
Killed me.
Just do what Paul said, or go to whatever he posted on July 4th and heart that. That could be a fun thing.
Yeah.
But I think
wait until the next July and then respond.
That's right.
And another important thing is to realize you have nothing to lose.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's my thought always.
Don't forget that. Like just do 1 or 2 random comments. Try to make them funny. And if you get nothing back, and you're following,
do 1.
One is probably good.
1, and then see if you get something back. Another 1, and then see.
And if he doesn't respond, do 50. Every post. All right.
I'm watching you.
Good luck to you. Oh, and by the way, get Joyful Recollections of Trauma. Do you have that book yet?
No.
Not yet.
That's my advice to you. That's my advice. Get that
book. I did hear
book.
about the Monopoly game with.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
Wait, I want to know about the Monopoly game.
It's not a super fun story, but I'll tell it to you.
All right. Well, thanks, Olivia.
Farewell.
Thank you.
Is it something we can learn from?
No, I mean it's a darker story.
Is this the depressing anecdote?
I'm not withholding it, but it's like it would be a bummer way to end.
This is easy. Okay. No, this is easy. This is what they say in the biz: leave them wanting more. Get the book if you're listening.
Yeah.
Joyful Recollections
It's in the
of Trauma.
first chapter, the Monopoly story.
And we've talked about trauma. We've talked about joy. I feel like
Yeah.
we've gone everywhere today.
I've learned a lot from YouTube, being great parents, and
I wonder if Moshe thinks about me like the worst day is better because
You make my worst day better? That's absolutely. I have a partner to come.
Your good days.
I have a partner to come home to. I've got a family. I've got a base of joy, just like you said. Yeah, absolutely.
joy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, if you have a secret, give us a call. We didn't do any secrets this episode.
Yeah.
But if you have a secret, give us a call at 213-222-8608.
You can be on the podcast if you email us at endlesshoneymoonpod@gmail. You can find us on Instagram. Be a part of our Patreon. Subscribe on YouTube. Paul, how can they find you online?
I'm just Paul Scheer, Scheer.
And don't you have some of the most successful podcasts?
I got some podcasts. How did this get made? Unspooled, but whatever. You get the book. You'll find me. I'm on tour all this November, going around. That'd be
Talk
fun.
about that.
I'm on tour.
Are you door knocking?
I'm door knocking. I'm going to go on tour with this improv group that I have with Nicole Byer and Lisa Gilroy and Carl Tart and a whole bunch of people.
Fucking
and then
hell.
have a good time.
That sounds like a lot of fun. All right, find Paul. Go see him live. See us live too. We've got lots of live dates coming up. We're very excited to see you all. Paul,
So fun.
a gentleman, a scholar, a
I
funny
love it.
guy,
What
a wise
day.
guy.
What a night.
Yeah.
We
a
did
real
it.
fat pig. You've got it all.